Another day, another competition. I guess we'll never truly be done when it comes to Overwatch. There's always going to be a map 5 and there's always going to be a C9. Because when it happens in Star Esports, I think it's something a little bit more ordinary or maybe sometimes a little bit more special because we are here back at it with the losers semifinals, and we are kind of in an intense moment right now. BearClaw Gaming, Kracked, Katz, only one of them can make it further and back into the kind of playoff winners bracket. So, me being user Intel and you, Mr. Captain Jack here, joined with me and Refused on our production side. How are you kind of expecting this match?
I've kind of got myself scratching my head here. I mean, I've been able to see both Katz and BearClaw Gaming play recently to kind of get an idea of kind of like what their strategies are and whatnot. As we know, BearClaw Gaming or as they were known as Andy's Daycare in the previous season of the All-Star Brawl, did win it out in the end, but we're finding them here in the lower bracket. So needless to say, it seems that someone above already relegated them down here, and they've got to fight their way back. Kracked Katz, last time I saw them was back in IV3, where we got to see them fight pretty well for the most part. If I remember correctly, they made it all the way, I believe, to the last match to qualify for playoffs, and then we're just a little short at the end of the day. Didn't end up making it all the way to the playoffs for the next weekend. So both these teams fairly formidable. I believe that this is going to be a close match no matter what. I mean, they're both in the semifinals after all. It'll just be, I guess, down to hunger. Who didn't eat dinner? Who wants that victory that much more?
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Both of these teams at least have their kind of story arcs, especially just coming from kind of Andy's Daycare, which were our winners last time, but due to rebranding, new players, new switch up, things happen, and it just seems that they're kind of now on the back foot. Maybe they just wanted to put on more of a show and have us, little back burner, and especially since they have very talented players like Infected, Zura, Hydra. I think Kracked Cats, they're very much are going to be showing themselves to be able, as players, to be able to kind of defeat anyone, especially people who have been in the scene for a very long time, or at least have made it into higher positions. I think this is more than just a fight to see who's going up in the series. I think this is kind of unproven talent versus talent that we've seen and have shined very brightly.
That's true. And there was another name on that BearClaw Gaming list I'm a little surprised to see, and that's Ship. Last time you probably saw that name was on Drifters, was, I believe, the main tank or off tank for that team. So Contenders player finding themselves here in the All-Star Brawl. It should be very interesting to see how that kind of changes things on what normally we would see as an already stacked team. Kracked Cats, though, do have many well-known names associated with them as well. Dylan and Critical definitely holding the line there. But at the end of the day, it's going to really be down to who decides that they want that victory more, that they want to make their way up to the grand finals. Once again, we want to remind you, as always, be sure to be hitting that heart, punching that bell, so you get notified every time we're online. You can also support the community by subscribing. $4.99 or Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime sub will continue to support all the things that we do here at Star Esports. Starting off on Dorado. Or sorry, not Dorado, Rialto. So close. And both ends with an O. And it's been kind of a long day for me. But nevertheless, Rialto, also an escort map, does fare for a variety of different compositions that we could be seeing from either team. As we know, BearClaw Gaming incredibly flexible, but I didn't get to, although I got to experience what was Kracked Cats, I didn't get to see a lot of their gameplay. I just got to know the results of it. So I'll be interested to see what they come out with here on the attack shortly. It looks like defensively, Infected and Ship opting for the Ball Diva composition, not something we standardly see on Rialto, especially on defense. There's just so little space in the early part of Objective Alpha for them to make work. The question is going to be more so, what do we see coming out from the side of Kracked Katz? I see a little hovering around this Orisa Diva composition, which has definitely been standard or becoming more standard in the meta as of late.
Always very surprised, but it seems that these are two of the most dominant compositions that we find ourselves within this scene, especially being able to slowly move themselves up. We're going to be able to see Zeus being able to find out Derpy immediately. That's in an unresable position, so as the rest of the team are slowly moving in, Derpy is going to be coming late into the fight. However, now they are being stuck on the corner, not going to be able to continue any form of rotation, though Meat is wanting to play onto the corner, wants to try to find out that Baptiste with the hole, has to use kind of their own ability so they don't die, but now this payload's in a free movement. Derpy's gonna be able to get that revenge right onto Zeus, while we just see the rest of the team looking for any prime opportunity to be able to dive in, but it just seems the Wrecking Ball comp slowly having to move back, be able to peel in for Graham, and then Infected goes into the backline, manages to force out Critical's own immortality at a dangerous level. But they're still losing their own allies. Not much we're going to be seeing coming out of that Diva, especially Zer, who is somewhat struggling to be able to move in. Derpy dying, but getting rezzed immediately, and Affected just more bouncing around rather than being able to fully dive on any targets. Once again, Zeus going to be able to find that trade, and Zer not going to be able to continue in this fight. It's all up to this window to try to make that difference, but the far end, the backline is going to be able to help not only take out Hydra, but set up for this barrage immediately quick, though Zeus able to shut it down, and Infected contesting the point. It's not enough as we see them capture.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about the composition that they're rolling out with. If you're coming out with Ball Diva, you're looking to do a lot of drive-bys. You're looking to get picks. You're looking to create opportunities for your DPS to pop off. And although Zeus has been finding a couple picks here or there, it hasn't been enough to really turn the tide in their favor. You saw Mead the entire time just kind of hugging the payload and just continually pushing it right on in. And now as they make their way into Objective Bravo, they're set up really well for this attack.
Oh, it's such a nice pulse bomb in a good mines. The issue comes is that it doesn't really get too much room. Immortality helps them. So we just see Snell using out that visor. Hydra has to use the Transcendence just to be able to save everyone else on the line and stop any form of a stagger. But that's when the Bongo wants to be countered out by this bomb. They don't have the shield, and it just seems Meat doesn't realize it. Getting found out. Now Infected has more than enough room to be able to try and not only take out Deco, but same with Critical. It seems the rest of their side, the Cracked Cats, needing to just play a little bit more passively. They're not wanting to fully commit in just yet, but Infected very much wants to be able to dive into their lines.
That's absolutely true. If they can get some additional picks, that will work out very well in their favor.
Yeah, but it seems they weren't really predicting Derpy being able to use that barrage, able to get one, but the trades are there. Even that bomb, it just seems that they are not going to be able to finish this out. The rest of their team have to go back to spawn just to be able to kind of come up with that plan with no ult economy.
Yeah, the unfortunate part was at the beginning of the fight, just the fact that Critical was using the Ant Matrix kind of made them very stationary targets for Infected to be able to kind of pounce upon, and then of course gave Graham the upper hand by being able to set up their Ant Matrix there on the high ground. We will see Snow swap over to this Widowmaker, but that initial pick onto Deco is not going to be a good start for the Cats.
It's absolutely terrible. They are playing back onto this bunker, being able to use that Orisa to kind of make open these sight lines. However, they're still struggling to be able to find their room in. Mine's capping them in the back. They have to escape outside the windows, jump out just to try to survive. That pulse bomb just barely missing onto the shield, but it seems the rest of the Bears are going to be able to slowly work as a unit. Graham goes down dangerously low solely from a direct hit, and that bomb wants to be able to find them out, but it forces Derpy to actually kill themselves. It's a little bit more embarrassing. I think you'd rather die to that bomb than die like that, but with the fight continuing in, Valk wants to be able to heal them against this window, but that DMAC and the boop onto Mead to kill. Well, it's just going to be a reset here.
Yeah, the unfortunate part, and I could see what Derpy was trying to do, was trying to get close enough to the water that they were far enough away from the bomb, but not so close to the water that they ended up dying. And unfortunately, I think that little extra blast that comes from the bomb ended up forcing them into the water unlike what they were initially planning to do. But nevertheless, this Deadeye looking to create some space with an early pick.
Being able to take out Deco is absolutely massive. We already see them entirely split. The barrage, though,
Wow.
Derby
Rude.
comes in absolutely angry, takes out both support lines. Zoo's able to trade in on that kind of bright side. However, they are at a massive disadvantage when this push starts.
That's true, but Deco's gonna swap over to that Lucio, Dupree, Derpy actually swapping over, trying to pick between the Reaper and the Tracer. I think is gonna settle on the Tracer. Tries to get that AM Matrix out, and we'll get a pick, but I don't believe it's on the payload, so very stationary is gonna be that AM.
Yeah, we're already seeing them being able to push it as far as they can. Infected wants to do their best, but getting stunned mid-air, not going to get that slam combined with the bongo. It's an absolute slaughter as Snell is able to immediately start melting down anybody that peeks. And with these small staggers that they're trying to escape, Graham is just going to be feeling a little bit goofy because you're just not going to be able to AD strafe that hard enough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but a beautiful stun there from Snell was, it was just perfect timing. Infected was getting ready to hit the ground and just stunned him out, and then the additional damage of the supercharger just melted them on contact. As they push into Objective Charlie, they're going to have plenty of room to work, but they're going to have to wait out this AMP Major.
Yep, however, they don't really want to wait it out. They throw that bomb. It doesn't really reach the corner as they want it. So missing out, they finally have room to be able to push in with that Matrix slowly going down. The Brigida wanting to help not only take out Zeus, but stall those seconds out. They're not really being able to commit to a full fight. Zera's being able to look onto these flanks, but still, both of these teams are giving themselves enough respect as the payload moves in until Critical's going to be using that wall, but being countered out by the own mind is being a problem in itself as they immediately have to back up. Pulse bomb landing out. It's going to be in that immortality, not really able to do much, and it seems that they are struggling. Kracked Katz getting hit by that pulse bomb. Meat not going to realize where it is. Going to get hit. Snell gets the trade, but without that Orisa, we see them retreat.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot that they can do, and this is like every escort map, the hardest part to push in. The enemy spawn is right there where that golden box of victory is supposed to be, and with 40 seconds on the clock, you've essentially only got one shot to finish pushing it into this objective, and with all the ultimates that BearClaw Gaming have online right now, it's going to be hard to push through.
They throw that bomb, but the Brig shield's more than enough to protect them. It has slowed down their push, and we see the rest of the dive parts of their composition moving in. Bear wants to be able to do the best that they can to shut down anybody, but it seems that after a second they will retreat. Zeus having this high noon can set them up against Meat's own bongo, protected behind a wall and shield more than anything. They really don't have much to worry about. They're going to be able to push this point and use that window to help not only take out Zer, but now this is where the rest of their team slowly starts to collapse at high noon, getting body blocked perfectly, though it doesn't manage to get a shot due to Derby being on the high ground. Snell's going to be able to come in with one of their own and immediately take them out. Infected trying to spin to win, but only trying to just be a kid, not going to have much when it comes to the adults playing the game. Slowly, the rest of the staggers trying to do their best, but they're going to be able to cap right in overtime.
And that's really all they need for this objective. The difficult part that they're going to have if they stick on to this composition is going to be trying to keep the objective moving. The only stationary person that they really have on the team is their supports, Graham and Hydra, but based on the compositions that we've seen so far coming out of Kracked Cat, they may be opting for a dive to kind of counter the dive. And if you're constantly getting your supports taken out in the back line, it's not really going to help you push that payload. So hopefully we're going to be seeing BearClaw Gaming swapping some things up here as they head on to the attack. But for now, we'll only be able to see what will be coming out for the side of Kracked Cats. They're looking to stick with what works. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was a little rough, but that Orisa Diva still worked out relatively well for them. Snell coming out on that Soldier 76, showing how effective their rocket jumps are to be able to bridge those gaps. And Derpy coming out once again with Deco on that far up Mercy with critical popping out the heals on that Batiste. all of those characters are going to be very influential unless we end up seeing that Baldiva again, which is looking like what might be coming out.
And I can surely give respect to it, but I think you really have to be scared of not only the Hillen, who's been doing an amazing job on this diva, but Snell, who's been able to get these kind of quick picks, especially in this type of composition. Infected is trying to look to boop anyone, however, not going to get enough room nor enough speed. Has to just back up, be able to try to poke out Derpy, but that's a far mercy, getting so much healing and being able to pump in damage at the same time. I don't really think you want to be able to walk out and try to contest that. It is going to be a slow move as Infected wants to be able to go inside the back line, try to dive out on critical, getting that peel from the Mercy more than enough, and the rest of the team being able to force out that nasty rat out of the game. The rest of the team on top of the high ground no longer have that space. They've been found out, though Infected still seems to want to be putting pressure onto Mead, getting that immortality and managing to find the trade onto Hydra's absolutely beautiful. Seems Infected wants to be able to follow that trend, as both of them will be back in the spawn room, and the rest of the team needing to think of a new plan.
See, that's exactly what I was talking about. When you have targets that, especially on the defense, that are stationary, it only works to have these drive-by compositions if you're getting picks. And right now, we are just not seeing that from BearClaw Gaming. The defense that is coming out, the absolute peel potential, is working out well in their favor.
Oh, look at that. Using the visor, trying to counter out Infected, who's in their backline, is going to be more than enough. However, there is nobody else, as the rest of the team has slowly been picked out, not only by Mead, but by Derpy.
That's true. Mead actually having some incredible positioning there, being able to get onto the enemy side of the Amp Matrix and forcing them essentially that if you want to shoot through this Amp Matrix to try to kill me, you have to get on the side where all of my folks are going to be shooting at you. Obviously, they ended up having to give that up because they were not able to make that space work for them, and there just isn't a lot of defense for them to show as Derpy continues to take down Zeus in the backline.
Yeah, it's not even fair. Xur tried to use that pulse bomb to catch anybody out, but misses it, and the immortality. This is where the barrage comes out, being able to save themselves for a little second by diverting their kind of range in. It just seems Ship is going to feel aggravated, especially when they're moving in with this Valk. Comes into the small corridor. The Diva able to kind of force them out for a tiny bit to where they have to step back outside, but this still in the favor of Mead and the rest of their team on the side of the Kracked Katz, until not only that dragon splits them up, but the mines stop their Diva from escaping. Getting that immortality is more than enough to protect them, and they start popping up their own ults to try to play against it. It just seems the rest of the Bears not gonna have any room, little bit too scared to try to go up against this really nice bunker composition.
I have to say, I think the thing I'm most impressed about during that entire fight is that Mead found the perfect height to crouch under the dragons and still survive, regardless of whatever else happened during that match. But picks coming in might be enough to change the tide.
What an amazing res coming out from Deco, now helping Snell be able to use the visor combined. Manages to find out Zeus, the bomb from Ship, wanting to be a little bit more inspirational, but you haven't reached tier 1 yet. No Poco bombs yet. Deco, though, getting hit with that pulse bomb is still a very big issue, as Snell no longer has any healing, is gonna fall down. The Baptiste wanting to get help from the Diva, uses that immortality, just barely gonna be able to escape and fall back to safety. They have more than enough room to try to contest this, but going up against the window is a big problem, so we see this even trade. Our Mead stuck inside the small corner. Derp is at least going to be able to find this barrage onto Zeus. It's now an even fight. Not having that Orisa is going to be hurting for a tiny bit, but with this healing, they don't really find too much of an issue. Pressure now being put onto Xur and to the Diva Chip, who's the only person contesting on to this point. Just seems the Bears don't really have anything else to kind of protect themselves, especially when Infected is already at half health, barely anything, and falls down. Graham, you could try your best, but you jumped a little too high, and you ended up C9ing. As we see Kracked Katz, they're going to be taking the lead and finishing out onto Rialto.
Very interesting start here. Based on what I've seen from BearClaw Gaming recently, I'm a little surprised, to be completely honest, that it went this way. They were so dominant during Lakeside Showdown 3 that it seems kind of odd. Maybe it's, the addition of Ship, despite being despite being an amazing player, there is still that kind of growth that comes with having a new player added to the team. Kind of learning to zig when the team zags and stuff like that. So maybe it's some growing pains that's kind of hurting them right now. Nevertheless, there definitely is opportunity for them to turn things around. They'll get their map choice after we get the ban coming in from the Kracked Katz as to what they will be taking away. But as of right now, Kracked Katz looking at a very strong start here on Rialto.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Sometimes I often see just the wrecking ball competition kind of break down the opponents who aren't able to play together. But I guess that's what the bunker truly works best at. And honestly, their
Hmm.
players already looking like MVP candidates. So if you're already kind of just solid in, you're like, yep, this player is who I love. I'm picking them. I'd recommend just going down to the summary description, whatever it's technically called on twitch.tv/sports esport. No, Star Sports Live. Wink. You can already put in you can already put in your vote and kind of give some love to the players already in. However, with the ban being on to King's Row, we
Hmm.
decide just to go over to Lijiang Tower. One map gone, and the better one enters. I've got to say, I was not expecting to see this so early.
That's true. Well, the first thing that I'm surprised by is that Cats banned King's Row. What? Did they not get the memo that everyone plays King's Row? Like that's such. I'm a little beside myself that got banned so quickly. But Lijiang Tower, typically control is what we would have started on. But the rules allow us to start wherever the team with the higher seed decides. So maybe this is Crack Cat's opportunity to kind of catch BearClaw Gaming on the back foot. Control has always traditionally been that kind of warm up match. If you didn't warm up ahead of time, try to figure out what the enemy team is doing. But now with Control being the second map, that we could be putting ourselves, or BearClaw Gaming rather, could be putting themselves into a tough position. Should they not be successful here as we head into Lijiang. We are going to see a swap as well on Cracked Cat, seeing Mead swapped out for Rat.
Ooh.
Be coming in on the tank line this time around. Let's see if they've been picking up Mead's shield dancing ability and how effective it was on Rialto here on Lijiang.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that sentiment of just King's Row being banned. I don't think I've ever truly seen someone willingly ban it. Maybe they aren't really confident in that brawl. They seem to
May
Yeah, they may want to kind of work things out, especially being here in the beautiful gardens of Lijiang Tower. This is going to be kind of more of a problem of momentum and speed, though I'm curious to see, will this be their opportunity to kind of even up the scores, or will this have been a problem and they're going to be going kind of in that match point scenario?
It's absolutely true. We're going to be starting off on the gardens for our first map of Lijiang. Typically, your dive heavy map, which it looks like is how Crack Cats are kind of flexing. Rat might be traditionally the Crack Cats ball player, as we see them coming in on the wrecking ball, but Infected and the rest of BearClaw Gaming opting for the traditional rush with the Symmetra to be able to get into that objective a little bit faster. I'm going to have Zero swap over to that Tracer to be able to get into the fight, but Zeus coming in on that Cassidy is looking to keep Dupree and Deco at bay.
It's almost a little bit ironic how we see the Wrecking Ball team no longer playing their composition. As they are being spammed down by Derpy, they decide to just move back into the shrine, maybe get a little bit comfortable inside this house, and start capturing that objective. But this is where Rat, truly aggravated, living up to the name, is going to be able to spin to win. Infected misses that charge. Unfortunately, Hydra is going to be traded out in that mess. Critical still not done. Finds Zeus as well. And then Infected? I mean, you're being able to get these picks because of the help of your team, but it seems that they are just bloodthirsty as we see Ship just needing to reset. No, deciding to fly back onto the point just to give them a little bit more of a stall.
That's true. I'm gonna have to go for the hard reset, which means 10-second stagger there for the side of BearClaw Gaming, unless they decide to move in 5v6. But wow, Critical already up to the Ant Matrix, and I gotta say, it's probably not due to healing, based on what we saw in the kill feed this last time around. Infected opting for the Winston this time around as the boop finds Hydra.
Trying to go with that Shadow Dive is very much a risk in itself, though. Zer is trying to be able to get that trade in. Snell's own pulse pump gets in, but then Derpy drops in, hits Q, and shuts you down. There's no worse feeling than that.
That is true. Also, Big Eat coming in from Dylan as well, able to get that pulse bomb in there, and that minefield. Not for certain that was the best of choices right there, unless they were trying to keep now Zeus, who is on the Sombra, from getting that mega health pack there on the outside. 55% in climbing, as we see BearClaw make their way back in.
Gonna get a nice slam in while Rat once again spins to win. Truly respect the strategy. Zeus, though, at a dangerous amount of HP. They have to use that sound barrier just to be able to protect themselves, while Ship uses the bomb just to be able to remech, get that point, and make some space. This is now where the Shadow Dive have the advantage. They are now looking to be the engagers as immediately they dive in, trying to go after that Baptiste. Critical, who has the immortality, is being perfectly saved and affected. Eventually going to be able to get it, while Derpy looks for that barrage. Isn't going to be able to pop it. That bomb makes more than enough space for Critical to get that become res back in. However, they have not been able to secure a pick until Dylan managed to find out. Zer, now combined with that EMP, that Pharah, that Diva, no longer have any room to play this game. You tried your best, but you fell so far. Rat does have the mind, is placing it out in the middle of the point. We do see Infected ditching it immediately, trying to Primal Rage out Critical. This is still in their lead as a beautiful combo. Not only finds out Deco, but Snell and Critical, who just decide, you know, it's no longer their fight.
Yeah, little off on the ultimates used there at the end by Kracked Katz. That Ant Matrix and Minefield are going to be stuff you want back for this next fight, although they were trying well to hold, and they were looking to turn the tide with Deco getting that res on Critical. That EMP really just kind of took the wind out of their sails.
Yep, look at this. An already spawn camp type of strategy as they immediately move in. And the moment that point starts to be contested by Rat, who was inside their own backline, well, they're just going to jump back in, pick you off, and Snell saying you're never going to be able to capture this point. And then they immediately continue to move closer to the bridge.
Well, we will see if they can continue to make this work. Now passing 80%. We will see BearClaw Gaming take the lead, and it's really going to be up to Kracked Katz. We got a barrage, a self-destruct, and a pulse bomb online. We try to turn the tide as the... Alright. Ship really tired of Derpy right there. Really wanted to get them out.
Yep, but look at that, the EMP coming in is going to help take out Rat. We see the barrage popped out, but not being able to secure any kills is hurting the team, as Deco eventually falling, only 2 people left on the point. But with DeHillen being hacked, they're not going to be able to use their mech to come back. Baby Diva melted down, though Tracer able to blink in, just like in the Doomfist cinematic, being sent back to the Shadow Realm. The Wrecking Ball, though, Rat wants to be able to try to touch this point, but look at that, body blocking is absolutely essential to be able to stop them. And look at this, BearClaw Gaming, they're going to be able to bring themselves to match point. Seems they were more than ready.
That's absolutely true, and it seems that they just had to go back to the tried and true that they knew was going to work out for them. Obviously, in the dive v dive, it's just not a composition that it seems, although typically would work for Kracked Katz, is not showing to be powerful enough to work against BearClaw Gaming. So it's really going to come down to the pick potential. Once again, if you're playing these divey compositions, the thought process is you got to get picks, and you got to get them quickly, because every moment that the team survives on the objective is one more moment that they can slow you down, they get percentage on the objective, and they just end up shutting you out.
And we live in a society to be able to see the Wrecking Ball come back in already on the point, and then the entirety of BearClaw makes such a long rotation, not letting them get any room to be able to poke them down. And look at this, they are perfectly sitting at the back of the point, waiting for it to capture. No damage or anything's really going to be hurting them too much, especially when Derpy's trying to just go behind them, do as much as they can. That point now being captured is going to be setting this time bait coming in, though Derpy's not going to be able to contest up against Zeus. And then on such a And in such an unresable spot, it seems Deco has to trade themselves and just go back to the spawn. We see the rest of BearClaw Gaming, they have already set them the pace of the match.
That's true, and really we need to be seeing some swaps right here from the side of Cracked Cats. Ideally, on this objective, you would want to be playing this Rhine Diva or Rhine Zarya. You really want that kind of a fortitude on the objective to be able to kind of help you sustain. But nevertheless, it's not going to happen. We're going to see Rat come back out and continue on to the Wrecking Ball, but it's going to be down to that first pick, and it ideally has to be on Zeus.
You know, poor feeling. Zeus is able to take out Derpy, though the Lucio seeming to lose out in their own skilled game. That's a feels bad man type of moment as we see the rest of BearClaw Gaming. They're going to be able to push forward and start kind of controlling the front lines.
That is true. 60% in climbing right now for BearClaw. Not looking to let go of this objective anytime soon. And needless to say, it looks like the chat is a little upset about what is going on as well. Rat, despite, I would imagine, being a really good Wrecking Ball by what we've seen thus far, just not being able to get the value on Wrecking Ball that they need. And hopefully they're able to get this minefield online to really start making some moves.
Such a beautiful high noon, slowing down Derpy from being able to get a lot of value off that nano.
There it is.
They eventually find out Zeus, they're at a big disadvantage. The Sound Barrier is going to be able to save Infected from such a massive bomb. Now the rest of the team being able to move in at this last fight scenario. They're placing the mines. Infected almost charges off the map, but is now inside the enemy backline. It's not going to be able to get as much help coming from the Lucio. Still able to take out Snell, Ship able to find out Dehillen, though the Rat is still coming back, able to play on this point. They're at a massive disadvantage. That bomb being thrown out for the Pharah, misses out for a tiny bit, was a little bit too far down, and Derpy able to use that barrage is going to secure, and yet they still come back. Zeus and Zer looking so good today. And it seems that BearClaw Gaming made the right choice when they won on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, Deco there at the end, very interesting, trying to go for the 2v1 with the Glock, but nevertheless, not really the option that needed to be made there. As you can see, Zeus on the McCree was the right choice. There really wasn't much that could be done about it after that point. And as you can see, not only did it take care of the farmers, it took care of the Wrecking Ball as well. All those could have been swapped off to provide some changes to the composition. We could have seen some Rhine and some Junkrat, kind of pseudo mirror the composition while also doling out a lot of shield break potential. But nevertheless, Cracked Cats might be in their own head. BearClaw Gaming throwing out a ball of yarn, and they're just kind of toying with it and focused on their composition and not really trying to figure out what composition is best for taking out their opponent. They will get the choice of map after BearClaw bans one, though, so we will see what gets chosen. It looks like the first ban comes in to Blizzard World, so we're not gonna see Blizzard World, not gonna see Kings Row. That means there's one remaining, and I unfortunately don't have the map pool in front of me, so we have one hybrid map that is going to be the only choice to be played sometime this evening.
I mean, what's their prejudice against hybrid maps? I thought they were some of the best maps in Overwatch. Everyone's always thought there are very few hybrid maps that people complain about, and now they're just getting rid of all of them. I guess that's what they're working for. Maybe they want to be able to play as fast as possible, though. This just means that they're not going to be able to go over to control again. But I've got to say, we've had a moment to kind of look at both teams on each side. And who has been some of these star-out players?
I mean, obviously, Derpy and Snell have been putting in quite a bit of work. Critical as well for the support line of Cracked Cats. Not only in heals itself, but in DPS potential, as we saw at the beginning of Gardens. But for BearClaw, Ship is kind of finding their role. They were phenomenal diva player on Drifters, so I can't say that I'm surprised that BearClaw would be willing to kind of pick them up in kind of this pseudo odd off season that's going on with Tier 2 right now. Definitely gotta keep yourself warmed up, keep yourself in the game if you eventually want to be taking that next step to not only contenders but onto Overwatch League eventually. But Zira and Zeus showing off very well on Lijiang Tower, but having a difficult time on Rialto. So it might be more of the space that BearClaw is allowing them to take up, or at least keeping them protected enough that they can get the shots off that they need to without having to be worried about somebody taking them out from a distance. It looks like finally we have gotten the choice from Kracked. They'll be taking us to Hanamura. So we're heading to Assault for our next matchup of the evening.
Man, it always surprises me when teams, especially in Star Esports, where they have the opportunity to go back to any map as long as it's not the same map type they just played, meaning like we were just on Lijiang Tower, so they can't go back on to Control, and then they willingly go on to Hanamura of all maps, Of all the maps that you truly had to pick, a Hanamura, and I've got my own prejudice against this maps, especially with this side swap, so we're going to be kind of getting a different idea, and Mead being subbed back in, so maybe they're looking to play more of that Orisa rather than just having that ball specialist in. Hanamura is such a frustrating map because I feel no matter how talented you are, if you're not basically being able to play very like perfect in a sense, you're not really going to be able to do much because, well, spawns can be very unfair.
Yeah, and really that's what I think it's going to end up coming down to here on Hanamura. And based on the defense that we saw from Katz on Rialto, I mean, it's no wonder why Mead would be brought back into the fight. Run that Diva Orisa once again, be able to kind of hold that single choke point. Maybe one or two members of BearClaw are able to get past, Infected or Zira. But time and time again, they've shown that no matter how many members of BearClaw are in their backline, they're able to handle them with ease while still holding the defensive front line. So, needless to say, although they could have gone back to Escort, they could have gone to the only hybrid we now have available. I can't say that I'm surprised. This is really a map that works well into their favor, into the composition that they're looking to utilize. Plus, here on Objective Alpha, there's so much room for Afara and Mercy to work. So this is going to be perfect for Derpy and Deco to kind of spread their wings, so to speak.
I really like that idea a lot, especially because just Hanamura. There's no words I really have to say. You made a lot of great points, and honestly, besides from just going into the map, that's truly what I think the viewers should be kind of paying more attention to. Every time I talk about Hanamura, my words are just Hanamura, and that's all I really have to say. Though I can kind of just tell you, at least when it comes to the map pool, the last hybrid is going to be Eichenwald, so that's their last kind of opportunity to play a map like that, which is still a really good map. But we have Volskaya in the map pool, like.
Yeah, I mean that could have been a really good choice for them. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't opt for hybrid this time around, but maybe they're making the same choices that BearClaw were making. Maybe they're hoping for some quick picks, so to speak. Get a map that's going to be ended quickly and in your favor as best as you possibly can. And for them, they feel that that will work out well. So we do have a pause on the field momentarily. It looks like we are having some issues for streaming and whatnot, but we're back into it once again, and I can't say that I'm surprised. We're seeing the composition that we saw work out so well on Rialto, except Snau opting for the Ash this time around. So not going to have the same exact mobility as we saw from the Soldier 76 that they were utilizing. And not going to have that heal ability as well. But nevertheless, Deco will have a lot of room to work, as will Snau. so they'll be able to get to each other with relative ease. And it looks like we're not going to see that dive utilized on this first objective, Infected and Ship opting for the standard here on Hanamura. Use the teleporter, get into spawn, or get into objective alpha, and lock it down from there.
Hey, full respect, TP, one of the most popular strategies. It seems they just baited and walked onto Mead. That's a little bit more surprising than anything. While Snell's able to get the trade onto Graham, there's really not much left. They are just staying onto this point, setting up their microwave. Derby trying to do their best just to pump in as much damage, but that first tick has already been secured. Now Snell already taking into that damage. Isn't going to be having too much, just barely manages to escape. Derby able to find out Hydra, so that's on the bright side. But that barrage gets canceled the moment they try to use it, and Derby pays with their life. Now the rest of the team trying to just be able to stall this out, but at such a big disadvantage due to the microwave being able to cook them up. It just seems that Meathead made a very bad mistake by walking into the enemy spawns, because now it seems Bears are gonna just move forward.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate right there. I did forget about that one caveat of Hanamura that teams do enjoy utilizing. It's that teleporter moves you places. I wasn't expecting the debate, though. That was pretty impressive, knowing how strong Meat is on that Orisa, being like, we could teleport in, or we could take out this player that's by themselves. And that ended up working out very well in their favor. Now they've got 6 whole minutes, well 5.5 now, with an AM Matrix on the high ground to provide a lot of support for them to push into Objective Bravo.
They're looking to get that first pick. The D.Va not really able to go touch, but throws in the bomb after they find out Deco helps to just finish off Derpy, and now they have control over the point. Even with Zeus on this high ground, they are now securing themselves a lot of room. Second tick now secured, not much to worry about. The D.Va is being able to slightly contest with the help of the Wrecking Ball. Just seems the rest of Kracked Katz are coming back, though. The Far is not going to be able to do much. The Valk is there being able to pump in that extra healing from far away, not touching that point, but they need to continue touching or else they lose it out. Though, look at that. Infected, now stuck inside the enemy's backlines, able to get that perfect rotation, managing to escape. Snell able to find out Ship. It just seems the rest of the Bears don't have much in them, though this sound barrier means that they want to continue fighting at the Bob. Now stuck onto this point, not only is going to contest it, but able to hit in that Ship damage. Hydra has to try to escape, and it seems that BearClaw Gaming came close, but only close enough.
Close, but no cigar right there, as we see the investment coming in from Kracked Katz, and it's working very well in BearClaw's favor. They were able to pull out quite a few ultimates from there just in time. I was actually kind of surprised that Ship's bomb ended up falling far enough to get Derpy under that bridge. That was actually pretty impressive right there, that it was timed out so perfectly. Nevertheless, 2 ticks on the objective with 4 minutes on the clock. Even if they take a minute to cap that final tick, it is a respectable time for Hanamura.
They pop out that window in the middle, that Shatter missing out, and the barrage mostly being eaten. Derpy is not going to be able to live up those mines, though, blocking them out, making them struggle. The bomb forces the high noon to cancel and move back, but that pulse bomb being able to almost take out the mech is just not enough, as Snell is continuing to find these shots and save the fight before it turns into a disaster. Now the West of BearClaw Gaming are just dying so they can respawn.
That's true. There really wasn't a whole lot that they could do at that point. I love the swap of Derpy over to that May. That definitely is going to work out well for them. I hope they're not going to swap off of that, because that gives them a lot of control on the objective that they don't have for composition, that's really not built for for point holding. Like we talked about during Rialto, when you have a composition that's incredibly mobile, you don't really have somebody that can be stationary. Having that May provides a lot of stationary for that objective, even if it's just an icicle form.
Feel so bad for Critical having to use that window so you can pump in that damage, break the Sim TP before Zer's able to kind of teleport on top of you. Now, though, they look angry as they immediately rotate, place the TP once again onto the high ground, but gets that peel, so now they've taken it over. We do see the Valkyrie used, so they get a little bit more sustained. Those Zeus using the Zion Noon forces them back, manages to trade out. That's 2. Bob now on the point. It's going to be a big help, especially, but the bomb moves them a bit too far. and it seems that even Bob's going to be able to struggle when it comes to this fight. No res going to be possible, slowed down and ended out. Just seems the rest of BearClaw Gaming have the sustainability, using the sound barrier out of no damage, but making sure that they have enough to be able to move forward. The Tracer, the last person on the point, Dupree trying to do as much as they can. Even Snell is coming out of the spawn room, but it's just not enough, as we see BearClaw Gaming being able to capture at 1 minute and 59 seconds.
That was interesting, I have to say, because Snell, despite being essentially dove upon with the TP, BearClaw never finished going after them. They essentially went to that outside area, and then they were just able to farm ult the entire time. That's why the Bob was able to go in and contest and shave some additional time off of that bank. But regardless, even there at the end, they were just able to sustain outside the objective. Unfortunately, they were the only one left. And by the time they would have walked to the objective or even coach gun to the objective, they wouldn't have been able to get to it in time. But just the freedom that BearClaw is allowing some of the members of Kracked Katz to be able to utilize is kind of a little unnerving. You don't know if they're doing it because because they're cocky and they don't think that it's going to be a big deal, or they're not doing it intentionally. They're just they're kind of chasing down ghosts, and when the ghosts disappear, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. So it'll be interesting to see how well this works out for them on the defense. We're going to see them come in with the same composition, 0 on that Tracer, be able to dole out a little damage in the back line. No teleporter this time around for the attackers, so Kracked Katz are going to be opting for the composition that's been working for them, and they're going to battle their way into Objective Alpha, VICE looking to bypass it.
I'll give respect. You're not risking that TP, wasting time. Though Mead wants to be able to walk in, doesn't really get a hit with damage, so unfortunately, it seems that the resistance wasn't necessarily needed, as the entirety of BearClaw are split. Infected is going to use that charge solely to go back with the team as Derpy moves forward into the spawn. It's almost as if they've swapped sides. We see the attacking being able to control the point, and the defending are making that rotation. They now have to go as fast as possible because they've already lost his first tick. Now moving in, they are going to contest before the second hit, and it seems they want to be able to use that window to pump in as much damage as possible. Derpy in an unresable spot isn't going to be able to get much help, as we see Meathead already dangerously low. You can see Immortality just fast enough, but broken down, it means you just die eventually. Though this window, a beautiful window coming out of critical, is going to help pump in some damage, and yet Infected is not scared as they continue to walk forward, and that's how you win a fight when it almost looks like it's kind of confusing.
I gotta be honest with you, Critical constantly, I get that they're getting these windows very quickly, but it's really kind of does a disservice to the team when you utilize them just for solo DPS. There was nobody on the objective, there were no tanks to be able to support in that way, and it just made it that much more. It was an ultimate that could have been utilized in this fight, as we see the Bob grab a tick on the point.
That's an absolutely big brain play. Though Zeus is gone, it just seems the rest of BearClaw are going to be struggling to try to secure this for themselves. Already at this massive disadvantage using that solo shatter onto Dehillen. Not really able to get too much follow-up on it, and you lose out ship because they have this bongo. And moving in, there's not much you can do to survive. I guess Bob's a true MVP, making sure they cap this point even faster.
I mean, even got the very nice 69% too. Like, Bob just so thoughtful about how they were making that work for them. And now with Objective Bravo in their sights, 4:40 on the clock, plenty of time to make their way into the objective and ultimates to spare. They just got to watch out for what BearClaw have in the pocket right now, especially Zeus's Deadeye.
Full respects. The Brawl is going to be able to sustain themselves, as we see immediately this bunker moving out. Derpy able to get the 2K, the disrespectful barrage.
Rude.
Shape of the bomb. This is where they put Dehillen onto that point, wanting to capture as many ticks as possible because the rest of the team are split, using the high noon combined with the window, but everyone immediately retreats. The only person who's going to be able to touch is going to be Ship, as they're waiting for Infected to be able to return, but dying absolutely immediately as they touch. BearClaw are struggling to secure this fight, as we're going to be seeing that bomb make sure that Graham goes low before they can even touch, and 3 minutes and 48 seconds compared to almost 2. I don't really know who has this in the bag, but in the end, it just seems, well, Cracked Cats are looking a bit more cracked.
You're absolutely right there. And if you look at just the minimal amount of time that was shaved off of their time bank, they're only 12 seconds down from what they started that initial fight with on Objective Alpha. So they've really lost very little time altogether. Whereas BearClaw Gaming, they're at least a second under the minimum that would be for this objective, and unfortunately weren't able to shave a lot of time off of that bank. Now we're kind of seeing why this was chosen by the side Cracked Cats. Hanamura seems to be a place where they feel kind of at home, even when they're working against a more traditional composition. Once again, Derpy kind of had free reign to move. I was a little surprised at the 2v1 between Ship and Derpy and Deco. Despite being an incredible D.Va player, never go solo against a Far Mercy. Not typically the move that you want to make. And even though Zira ended up getting themselves into that fight as well, all they ended up catching was a bunch of rockets to the face by the time they got there. So needless to say, they gotta watch out for those individual hero plays and really be looking to work together as a team as they are right now.
Working as a team with the teleporter, being able to bring them onto the point already. That first tick confirmed. It seems that they're going to be able to almost get the second tick. However, Snell is going to be losing their life during the midway. Deco tries to get the res, gets punished immediately. That second tick now secured. It seems that this brawl is going to be having no issues, as anybody who walks in is slowly dying out. That Immortality is going to be able to protect, as Infected wants to be able to melt down every little squishy onto the point. And that's a good way to be able to say that we're going to move on to the second objective.
Yeah, that was a quick objective take and an extra 30 seconds added to the clock. Only ultimates getting ready to come online, or supports and the shatter for Infected. But that barrage has proven to be deadly more than once from Derpy, and they have no qualms about getting in your face to use it. So with only 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining on the clock, if BearClaw Gaming want to be sure to grab to this objective, they gotta move fast, and they gotta do it now.
A little bit of a bait TP. They managed to go onto the high ground. Hydra dies to that barrage, but they're able to trade in. So it's really not going to be too much of an issue, especially with Zeus finding out onto Deco. The Hillen with that D-Mech is going to be looking a little goofy, especially with Mead in the kind of backline. Has that sheet feeling a little fine, but gets caught up by the High Noon. They are able to use his sound barrier, as we see the Tracer wanting to contest for as long as possible. But they get off, and because of the recall, that's a technical C9, as they cap with 43 seconds.
Yeah, there really wasn't much that they could do about that, unfortunately. When you're getting melted by anything and everything on the objective, it's just so difficult to kind of hold the line in that way. I want to give a special shout out to Joe Razor09, rating us here at Star Esports with a party of 11. Man. We greatly appreciate you bringing more to watch the action that we've got going down here tonight, because BearClaw, they've drawn the line in the sand. There's a reason that this map has the nickname Draw Namura. And it could be a draw. 43 seconds, definitely not a time to scoff at, but we could be seeing the ferocity that we saw from Cracked Cats come out once again. That worked out so well in their favor. I do love the fact that this last attack, that the BearClaw really focused on Snow. That was a huge thing that they missed the last time around, that kind of forced their timing a lot lower than they probably would have liked. And I also find this shift onto the Orisa for Infected interesting, because it doesn't allow them to be as aggressive or as brawly. But Zira on that Echo is going to provide a lot more damage than we were seeing for many of the other heroes that have been playing tonight.
Hope the Pantry Man is still watching, because this is where it's going to be Bunker v Bunker. though Zerg dying out very early is a big problem. They're now all trying to be able to peel in for each other. Mead getting hit with that anti-derpy, falling down, so not much left. The Mercy being able to just heal for as much and hit that damage boost, but they're both stuck in this uncomfortable position. However, this is where they're moving in forward. This is the intense fight we've all been waiting for, as we see both shields eventually broken. Still, though, getting that immortality, popping out that window. They're perfectly safe, although it still somehow gets broken as Ship gets that nano, walks, and they're inside the small corridor. It seems Mead's gonna rotate all over to the point as Zeus gets traded out. It's not gonna be looking good for the side of BearClaw Gaming, as they now have to walk out into the enemy lines, and Critical's looking absolutely angry as Ship is able to trade in onto Dehillen, and they move into the point. It still seems that Mead's gonna take out Hydra. Derpy coming in just to be able to help pump in that damage, but I guess Mead really just wants to get that revenge.
Yeah, Ship chasing down Dylan was an interesting choice. I mean, ideally, that maybe normally would have been quick, but ended up finding Derpy coming back from spawn as well. Kind of elongated the time that Ship was away from the fight, when they really could have been dedicating to being on the objective and helping out the rest of the team. And once again, we're going to see Bob grabbing that first tick on the board.
Absolutely disgusting, as they use the bongos so they don't have to leave, and they are able to pump in a considerable amount of damage. There is little to nobody who can really touch this point for a long term. The Mercy wanting to try to help for as long as possible eventually is going to be taken out by Snell. However, it just seems that with the return of Infected, they have enough members to be able to defend the point. The rest of the side of Kracked Katz, looking a bit more uncomfortable, are finally going to retreat after using the window. That's a big ultimate, and in this type of fight, Zert's gonna be feeling so happy not having to deal with it later on. But on the bright side, Deagle gets their 1 kill on the board.
That is true. Pulling out the Glock when you mess with the Doc. Mead will get melted down there at the end. We'll feed a little bit more ult charge into the enemy team. Graham swapping over to the Mercy as well. Very interesting pick here, looking to maybe give a little bit of additional support to Zeus. Now that we've seen Deco kind of swapping between Snell and Derpy. But nevertheless, lots of ultimates online for either team, and how they use them will define how this fight ends.
Oh, this is a little bit more concerning. We see them... Yeah, we already see them moving out, and 4 Infected gets dropped to the ground with the nano. And Derpy comes out, uses the barrage, takes out Zeus, but gets slept and charged. A little bit rude and excessive, but hey, at least you get the res out and you throw the bomb. They all fell out. And
oh no!
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that is unfortunate right there, because the thought process probably was, okay, we can hope that the barrier stays up long enough and the bomb falls out the window, or the bomb won't go far enough to go out the window, so we'll just fall out the window instead. Unfortunately, the bomb did have enough momentum to go straight out that window after them, and they had no protections whatsoever to keep them alive. Beautiful cleanup from Ship, and honestly, in those moments, it's hard to tell what you would do, to be honest. But ultimates abound right now for the side of Kracked Katz. They've got to make this momentum work.
They move forward, but eventually Infected wants to be able to back out. The bomb's being thrown on point. Will they allow it? No, they counter out with their own bomb. It's a bomb fiesta.
Whoa.
Though it seems that Zeus's one is going to be melted down first. This is now going to be an overtime fight. Infected gets that nano. They solo shatter Dylan. What a poor soul. Now going to be taken out. Does manage. No, dies by the fire strike from Infected. They're now going to be putting the favor inside their own pockets, as Mead doesn't have too much healing to be able to protect themselves. And it seems that the rest of Kracked Katz are gonna have to try again, because BearClaw Gaming have woken up and they have taken Hanamura.
Wow, we're heading into match point now for BearClaw Gaming. Definitely showing that versatility that we've been wanting from both of these teams right now. And it seems that Ship, as always, the playmaker here, and you just see the timing of this bomb. Look how far away it is. Like, to gauge whether or not what the right move was at that moment was just so difficult for the side of Cracked Katz. And it just ended up working out so well in BearClaw Gaming's favor. You just gotta hope that you have the right solution, but did not work out. Did not work out well for them. As we head into our next, what could be our final map, Crack Cats will get a choice once again after BearClaw gets their ban in.
And it has been absolutely an astounding match. They're being able to go back and forth, but I've got to say, when you brought up Ship earlier as a player to kind of stand out and show what they were, I was like, I was sitting there, I was like hesitant. I was like, no, Kracked Katz have Dylan. He's been looking better. Maybe I'm underestimating Ship. We'll watch, and then Hanamura comes in, and not only was that bomb absolutely beautiful, but the consistent peel that Ship was able to kind of make in for the team. Getting a little bit more of that MVP vote for me at least. And well, if you guys want to be able to kind of voice your own opinion, I'd recommend just making sure you're putting it down. You can vote, and it's something that we'll be able to interview. So hey. There is nothing wrong with that. Either way, another band, a possibility. Will we finally go on hybrid, or will they decide, no, let's go back on control?
Yeah, that will indeed be the question. And needless to say, I've been following Ship's career for quite some time, a majority of this year, as a matter of fact, starting all the way back on attack mode, then initial drift when they finally got picked up by drifters, and making their way up to contenders. I mean, I expect big things coming out from players like Ship, and they are not disappointing. Nevertheless, there is some kind of there is a little bit of a disconnect with the BearClaw team whenever they kind of separate. And they're not really working together. You see Cracked Katz kind of taking advantage of that. Ship getting a little too big for their britches, trying to go for the 2v1s as D.Va. Yes, you do have a mech that you can call back in should you get demacked, but you do still have to stay alive. And that doesn't work out so well against a power boosted Pharah. So needless to say, maybe a little cockiness coming out from the amazing D.Va player, but nevertheless, a dub is a dub, and we are on match point. It looks like the banned map that has been chosen is Gibraltar, and we will indeed be seeing some hybrid tonight as we head to Eichenwald.
Give full respects to it. Eichenwald, very beautiful map. Though BearClaw Gaming, I at least will give that benefit of the doubt that Infected seems to be able to push them back together the moment that they split a lot more, especially in those kind of overtime situations. Infected was charging back into the team, while Mead doesn't really have that mobility playing the Orisa, so it's really hard to kind of move in. Mistakes happen, like this. My shirt's inside out. I just realized it. And I've been wearing it all day. I can't change it until the camera's switched out, but that's not the problem we're talking about. I think the big problem here is that being on match point means that they are on the back burner. And with sides swapped, this means that Kracked Katz have to be able to cap that point and move it as far as possible. I think if there's anything you want is do not allow BearClaw Gaming to push it. They've been able to show up and adapt on the spot.
And I think the interesting part of all this is that BearClaw Gaming has taken the defense, right? So they are looking for that full first point hold, and Kracked Katz can't allow that to happen. If they allow any foothold from BearClaw Gaming to be able to sustain on this objective, they're not going to grab alpha, and they're going to be shut out very quickly. Now, of course, as always in hybrid, there is drawable areas on this map for them to take into their advantage should they need be. But ideally, Kracked Katz should be the ones to take this and possibly take us to a map 5. Remember, this is their tournament lives here. We're in the losers bracket. It's either you go big or you go home.
And I don't know how often we've seen a team be able to full hold. I don't really also understand that kind of mentality. Like, how are you so good at defending, but you know what they're gonna do on the defense, and yet you still fall for it, so you end up getting full held?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's typically strategy, right? Like, you can On the defense, you can kind of anticipate a little more because you have your options already kind of laid before you. Whereas on the attack, sometimes you have to think a little bit more on the fly, taking the advantage of when the defending team isn't paying attention to a particular route, right? So I think at that point, it's more about for attackers, how well are you able to kind of think on the fly and be able to kind of choose the right path for your team in a moment's notice? Whereas on the defense, it's like, okay, we've got everything covered. You know, we'll just allocate resources where need be. And especially on a point like Eichenwald, you know, unless you're going to do the teleporter strat with the Maywall up and over the side, there's only one way in. There's only one way through that choke point to be able to get onto the objective, very similar to what we saw on Hanamura. So it's going to be up to Kracked Katz to either try to whittle down that defense or try to find that single particular route that is going to allow them to avoid any damage that is coming out from BearClaw.
There's a moment to make any type of situation, well, it's time now. It's time to be as big as a problem as you can be when it comes to BearClaw Gaming. As we already see, this bunker continue to move forward. Snell is on to that Widowmaker. Those eventually wait switches, and we see the rotation coming in from the Brawl. They immediately want to be able to just harass Mead as much as possible. Saved with the Immortality, though not saved for long enough. That's what I call aggression, as they immediately pick off Mead and slowly make their way out as Zeus is able to trade into Derpy, causing them to have a bit more of a stagger.
That is true. That's going to shave some time off of the clock, and that's the issue with running the Sarissa Diva composition, right? You don't have a lot of speed that you can utilize, and once you close the gap with that Reinhardt, that Rein's going to be pumping out a lot more damage than you are with your tiny pea shooter, despite how many bullets you may have. The Sand Matrix, though, going to even the tides just a little bit. But that pick is going to be a very beautiful couple of starts.
Such a long-range barrage gets so much value, and it seems as much as Shift has been showing off, Baby D.Va can only do so much. This point is going to be going into the favor of Kracked Katz, and they're going to be having an easier time being able to move forward, especially Derpy in this bright open range. Luckily, though, we already see them moving into the castle, wanting to take it over before the Brawl does.
And ideally, that's exactly what they should be doing. With a composition that is as slow as what we're seeing from the Kracked Katz, they want to take up as much space as they possibly can, but what they forgot to realize is that if they did not stop BearClaw Gaming from going into their spawn, they would just take that instead. And so with the cart being on the other side of the gate, Kracked Katz are essentially forced to move back into their spawn area.
Yep, using that pulse bomb helps so much, though. Infected eventually lose out their shields. Now in that danger of dying, they seem to not care. Ship even using their bombs solely to be able to come back as a unit. Derpy says no, though. Hits you with that Uno card. Ian Snell uses that high noon. They had to back out. Breaks that shield. Infected's now in this dangerous spot. Has to charge just to be able to escape. But your Baptiste Hydra, where's the peel? You have to use that Shatter combined with the Sound Barrier to be able to help yourself. And on the bright side, it does manage to trade out when it comes to that Diva, but the rest of the team has to be able to go to the corner side until Derpy uses the barrage, hits the 3K. Derpy was so tired of their ring around the rosy game and ends it absolutely in a beautiful fashion.
That's true, but they gave up so much time and they haven't even made it through the choke point yet. That is unfortunate for the side of Kracked Katz. They had good momentum, they had good setup, but they didn't take the attack where BearClaw was heading. You know, they didn't kind of cut him off at the pass to make sure that they wouldn't take advantage of their backline, and that shaved a good amount of time off of the bank. Once again, we're seeing them just move on to the objective because Kracked Katz are not stopping them from getting there.
Love the fact that they are continuously switching sides with the defending side kind of more on the point. They're going to be able to help take out Deco, and the attacking side are stuck on the high ground being poked out. Ship wants to be able to go on top of the castle and poke out a bit more onto Derpy, but eventually they are going to be able to trade on their sides. They are sitting to themselves on Kracked Katz saying, how did we get here? but they still have to be able to push this for as far as they can. Derpy struggling just to be able to move in, is stuck inside Zeus's range, and it seems that Deco gets headshotted from such a long factor. Though Infected getting pulled off, looking like a clown, is not going to be feeling too happy now. The rest of the team is able to start making those trades as Derpy gets found out. The only person being onto the point is going to be Mead, slowly pushing it in, getting that poke. Nobody wants to disrespect the back line. However, it eventually seems that Zer wants to be able to move in, wants to try to find them out before they get anything, and that bomb beautifully placed is going to make sure that nobody, especially Snell and Critical, who were going home, well, don't get all alive.
Yeah, Deco's having kind of a rough time right now. That is, in a single fight, gets sent back to spawn 3 different times. Not a good position that you want to be in as a Mercy player who is supposed to be keeping the rest of their team alive. We will see the high ground being taken control of once again by BearClaw, but beautiful starting pick there by Dylan with the halt usage of Mead.
Yep, that pulse bomb once more, trying to just make a play. It looks cool, but you don't get too much. That Forest called out, was trying to set up for the barrage, eventually uses it from a long distance, and it seems that the Lucio's going to be the one who takes you out. So now, though, being able to trade into Hydra is going to be a big benefit. We see Zeus trying to do their best, but eventually falling down. The sound barrier helps us to shatter and boop. Make a great combo, though this point wants to be able to move as far as possible. That bomb is just too high up to be able to break that shield, and the Pharah is the only person who's going to be able to be there to try and do anything. However, Derpy is all alone and is not going to be having too much, besides from a Mercy, who is already dead.
Oh my goodness. Deco just keeps getting staggered out here. Not a great position for your Pharah or for your Mercy player, and that makes your Pharah even that much less effective. They really needed to swap off probably earlier to create more of a bunkerish style composition that could work out a little bit more in their favor without so much dedication to this Pharah.
I respect the aggression. However, what I don't respect is the fact that you walk in, you get hit by a window bongo combination, and the rest of your team now has to rotate back. Infected is stuck being alive because if he dies, there is no opportunity to have this stall. The rest of the team is coming in, and I don't see the chances of them wanting to really do as much as they can. Just coming in as the Tracer. Graham still has to die as a sacrifice. Infected coming in, that pulse bomb landing onto Mead. The high noon, though, being able to trade into Hydra. It just seems that overconfidence is going to fall down. No aggression is ever going to last when Kracked Katz are able to shut it down.
That charge from Infected was interesting, I think is the word that I'll use there. I mean, ideally as a Rhine, you don't like getting pelted by a Pharah, but you would have had a lot more utility just attempting to stay on the objective by tackling and missing everyone.
Oh, ship with the E is absolutely beautiful. Now Mead is stuck inside the enemy's backline, gets hit with the high noon. That was a little bit more prejudice. She just could have killed them, you know?
True, but they had that high noon already out. They were looking to utilize it against more of the team, but thankfully due to the momentum of some of the players, they're at least able to create some space. Honestly, I'm still surprised that Derpy is sticking on this Pharah. Like, I get it. You're getting a lot of value out of it, but, ooh. Oh, dang.
Oh, finding out Infected. A very beautiful pick is going to be helping them move forward. The rest of the Bears have to just try to move out. Without Infected moving forward, they don't have anyone to protect them. Now the bomb looking to make that play. It gets stuck as everybody takes that natural cover, but they have to use that sound barrier just to be able to play a bit more forward against the bongo, being able to break it. An absolutely beautiful move playing onto this corner. That payload cannot move any further without finding these picks. Snell, though, does have the high noon, so it's an opportunity to be able to set themselves up. Already looking, gets that speed boost, trying to find as much as they can. It gets Ian, not much. The shatter goes through, is able to find out both Derpy and Snell, but the barrage pops out, getting punished. Zer with the Riptire finds out too, and that's how you're going to be able to secure a point, because there's not much you can do when Zer goes on to the Junkrat and builds up that Riptire so quickly, stopping it right in the throne room. I guess we'll never be able to see that grave finally die.
Once again, it all comes down to flexibility. And BearClaw is showing that they are flexible and not only composition, but in positioning as well. Oh, you want to take the high ground? Okay, we'll just take the objective. Oh, you don't want to swap off of the firearm? That's okay. We're inside now. We'll just go ahead and pop onto the Junkrat and decimate your ground forces. All these different moves that BearClaw is making, and Crack Cats once again kind of distracted, set in their ways, whatever words you want to use for this, is just making it incredibly stagnant. I'm honestly a little surprised that they've made it this far. If their flexibility or lack thereof is dependent on the players themselves and what heroes they can play, because the only time we've ever really seen a true kind of like swap of composition was when Mead was swapped out for Rat, and Rat was brought in to be their ball player. So I don't know. My cheeks are kind of clenched right now. I want to hope that Crack Cats take us to a map 5, but if they can't be, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more willing to try some different things and try to be a little bit more aggressive against BearClaw, I have a hard time seeing this turning out any other way than a BearClaw victory.
I've just got to say, BearClaw are on a baby hunt and don't think they don't know how to weed you out, especially when you're not kind of making those adaptations. As we see them already being able to get hit by a massive amount of poke, they're used to it. Derpy's already going down to half health, gets that healing from Deco. They save that speed to go through, but it seems that Holt's gonna be able to stop them, especially with that boop. Eventually Hydra falls, and that's the one person you really need when it comes to this fight. So everybody now wants to move out. They have to make something of this rotation, and it seems that pumping in the damage into Mead might be that opportunity. Already down dangerously low, being able to shield away from Derpy's own damage. Zeus and Zura are still dangerously low. Now stuck in this small corridor, they are just biding their time. The Baptiste trying to just make the room, but eventually it seems that Infected Shield's gonna die, and they're gonna be meeting Hydra once again back in that spawn room.
Yeah, they're making those long rotations, and the combination of abilities worked out very well in Cracked Cat's favor. Mead pulling out the Holt, stalls for about a second, 2 seconds, then Derpy sends out the concussive blast, boops everyone back, forces Infected off of that high ground, and they end up sacrificing the Hydra in the process of that rotation. And needless to say, once again, you see Graham getting essentially yeeted across the objective.
Not much you're gonna get out of that, though. They just walk into the window. They managed to kill out Critical, but Hydra gets traded. Now with the Valk being able to help pump in that damage and healing is just absolutely impressive. Ship still being able to find time to eat out that Dragons. It's still somewhat of an even fight, though Snell is popping up to 11. It's gonna be able to take out Graham and Ship and secure this push, because Zerg can only do so much.
That's absolutely true. The Sonic Arrow, give a little ding dong to the dome of Zero right there, and Ore 2 minutes shaved off of the time bank. We'll go ahead and see them getting ready to push in once again, using that speed of rotation, and they have some ultimates in the bank to utilize. They have that Amp Matrix, they have that Deadeye, but with the massive amount of damage that's been coming in, it's going to be hard for them to do.
Once again, Hydra's not going to be able to help out the team, especially after using that window. We already see Derpy being able to play behind these houses as this bomb is their engagement. They've lost 2, and eventually Infected's going to be following them out. Though that tick is good, you need more than that.
It's exactly as I was talking about earlier, user, is that BearClaw has been working really well when they're staying together, when they're working together. It's that second moment, that little bit of time that one of their members, typically what we've been seeing from Hydra, getting separated out from the rest of the team is making it so difficult for them to get around. They're coming in with the rush, looking to see if they can make it work with the dive.
Unfortunately, it's just not looking any better as they immediately lose out too. Now stuck inside the enemy's backline. They have to throw out this bomb just to make a play, but unfortunately everybody's already behind cover and feeling fine. Infected eventually is going to be melted down, and well, 40 seconds left on the clock. They need a chance.
That's true, and there doesn't seem to be much else that they can do right here. Yeah, they got a tick, but kind of at what cost right now? They've swapped up a lot of their composition. Zeus now on to the Sombra, which Normally, if they swapped at the 2-minute mark, I'd say that you could definitely earn yourself up an EMP in that amount of time, but it's all going to be about positioning and targeting focus, and right now, it doesn't seem to be working out in their favor, but that's a good way to start.
Absolutely massive punishment. The dragons are being spread all across the point, looking to just block them off from touching, but they're still going to manage to get it. That Valkyrie being able to help, at least when it comes to the sustain. The Holt stopping, in fact, its own jump at that half health damage. Coalescence now finally going to be able to build up this damage. As we see the Hillen getting demech, we see Critical slowly falling down, and Mead not going to be able to survive. That was a beautiful chance and an amazing punishment onto Derpy to make sure that you still have a chance to win this map.
Yeah, the early use of the barrage from Derpy, I think, was an interesting choice. I understand wanting to get those picks early so that you can kind of maximize the amount of space and the lack of players on the objective, but ideally you had control. You had the high ground advantage. You had space all over that objective. That as soon as BearClaw touched the point, all you had to do was get them stunned out and use the barrage on them. But that didn't end up working out in their favor, and neither will the CMP.
Yep, they have to use that sound barrier just to be able to protect themselves for a little longer. Seems to me it's gonna be XQC'd off the map, and the rest of their team aren't gonna be able to do any much better. It seems they're just gonna have to try when it comes to the bridge stall.
That's true. Team kill rings loud and proud, providing a lot of opportunity, and already a Coalescence back online for Hydra. Ship has that self-destruct, and there's not a lot of places to hide here on the bridge. If they're going to stall, they need to get out of the spawn area now if they want to make that space.
Playing very early, going up against that bongo. The immortalities being a fine sustain for them, while that bomb is solely for D-Hillen just to be able to remech. It seems that barrage is the true mistake as you manage to find out Chip, but now you have made them angry as they slowly move out to continue pushing this point. They're looking out for the Hanzo, who's barely getting any kind of healing, and still Snell being able to find out that 2K. Derpy kills themselves. How unfortunate, especially when DK falls down, so you don't even have a res opportunity. Pulse Bomb just barely misses out, but it still seems you're going to be able to miss. The dragons going through. They're going to be able to place down onto the point. Infected doesn't know he got AirPods on, though being able to jump in the air is a fine solution to be able to break through it, especially with Mead falling down. This is one long staggered fight. They want to be able to waste down this time bank and maybe bring it back, especially with this Primal Rage now going in, looking to just move people off the point or force them. Yeah, Chip is able to get the security when it comes to this push. Now DeHillen returning back into the fight is going to be booped off the map, but just barely manages to hit side the bottom platform and immediately dive back in, looking to just do what they can, but it just seems that the dive, the brawl, the shadow, all is just so confident. No, over halfway of 30.
And once again, you think that it's about, we said that the issue was speed earlier. When you opt on to this composition, speed is definitely a stronger issue. I mean, this composition is essentially moving on cooldown. Every time Graham has that speed boost available, they are just collapsing onto Kracked Katz. And with this EMP, it might be over.
What a big way to start up this fight. The Immortality is able to save them, but it's just not enough. All stacked together, it seems they are ready to melt you down. Now the Brigida Deco being the last person to touch on the point, it's not going to give enough, and it just seems BearClaw Gaming, they want to make sure that they can repeat history as they went out onto Eichenwald.
Absolutely beautiful coordination. We saw a little bit of fluctuation there from Kracked Katz in the end, but honestly, I think it just came kind of down to desperation at that point. They were just trying to get back to the objective as quick as possible, as you saw Mead just kind of spinning to win to try to hold the line. Again, I really feel like it came down to that single ultimate from Derpy. If they would have just held that barrage just a little bit longer, kind of baited them out instead of trying to get them in that side area while they were mid-rotation, I feel like this would have been a completely different match. We would have been headed to map 5, where Kracked Katz would have had an opportunity to continue to move on here in the lower bracket, but nevertheless, we'll have to retire them for now as we see BearClaw Gaming continue their lower bracket run.
Yeah, I've got to say, BearClaw Gaming absolutely continued to move forward. They just managed to kind of bring something out of them. I think Cracked Katz absolutely did the best that they could, and they still shined at a lot of moments. But in the end, I guess it's just that ability to kind of have that adaptation, have that adaptation, to make sure that they have the security to come back in. Now we just get the moment to see who's going to be the MVP.
That is true. Based on the votes thus far, it looks like we'll have Dylan joining us, but you will have a couple of moments to continue your voting. So while we are waiting for the MVP to be decided, we're going to send it to a short break so that we can get our MVP here in the chat. Stay tuned for more Star Esports All-Star Brawl. We'll be back with our interviewee in just a few moments.
What do you think we're on?
No.
Yeah, because we don't take pauses here.
You
That's
right?
Yeah, that's why I'm got you. You know, I had that moment. You're just
You're
looking at the.
gotchaing me.
Yeah, I know you were looking at the camera. You're like, "Are we off? Are we done?"
Maybe we're not. I'm not for certain. You know, I do a lot of different places. Sometimes I kind of forget what the rules are everywhere. But nevertheless, we're still waiting for our interviewee, as it looks like the stream has kind of caught up with us. So if we are still live, I guess enjoy the little egg on my face for this evening. And you know, as we continue to kind of wait things out, we will go ahead and continue on. It looks like Dylan has been chosen as the MVP of this matchup, coming in for the interview here. And there he is. Dylan, welcome. Glad to have you here. A well-fought match, but close is only in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in Overwatch. So, how you feeling after this match?
Feeling pretty tired after the match. It was a really good match overall.
No,
Yeah, we've been here the whole time. We could definitely see how hard fought that was. Were you all prepared for kind of the aggression that BearClaw was going to bring, especially being last season's champions?
Yeah, we definitely studied on like how they play really aggressive, especially on their brawl comp, and we definitely were prepared for most of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about you, user?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's really good, but you know, it's kind of more closer to the end of your guys' trail. But I just kind of want to get your experience and opinion. I think Cracked Cats have been one of the better teams and have shown consistent improvement throughout the entire season. So honestly, how does it feel to kind of be at the end of the rope? But you know, are you guys gonna try and come back next season, or are you not really planning that far ahead?
We will definitely be back next season and go harder and stuff like that. Today was definitely a test for us against one of the top teams in Open Division, and I think we were able to take on top OD teams.
Yeah, especially what we were talking about with Ship being a recent addition to the roster that at least I know of, coming in from Drifters. Was that kind of something that y'all already knew about, or was that kind of a surprise once you entered the battlefield today?
We already knew about it like a day or two before.
Okay, so a little bit of time to prepare, maybe a little bit more time would have been helpful for that. But I guess I guess at the end of the day, what are the plans for Cracked Cats moving forward? I know that y'all kind of work, or at least by my understanding, work relatively closely with Altiora Gaming over on the EU side. You know, any plans for the holidays coming up for the teams? You know, charity competitions or things like that as we get ready to prepare to head into the new year.
Honestly, I don't know yet, but we will definitely be scrimming, VOD reviewing, and practicing very hard for hopefully the next Open Division season.
All right. Well, we have our fingers crossed as well as casters in production. We want to see open division come back. User, do you have any other additional questions for Dylan before we let them go this evening?
Well, I guess my real question is there anything that you want to be saying to the people listening in, a statement you want to make, a threat that you want to hold?
No threat. All right, but honestly, I'd like to thank Star Esports for giving Cracked Cats a chance to compete in this tournament and to show what we are definitely made of.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Although it's the end of the road for now, folks, Cracked Cats will be back. Just keep your eye out for that should the next season arise. If it's not in December, more than likely in the new year. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and send you back to the team as we close out this evening.
Thank you.
User, this has been one heck of a match. I was really surprised and impressed by kind of the how well both of these teams played against one another, despite never meeting one another thus far. It definitely shows that there is talent in all areas of the Overwatch space.
Yeah, especially with kind of OD going on right now, a lot of these teams having so much practice. I've got to say, I truly expected that go to map 5 and wherever Cracked Cats go. I definitely think we'll be seeing more of those players in the season, but at least we could say that Bear side, well, they've been looking great, and I think they're only going to be looking better as the season continues forward. But that's pretty much the end when it comes for me and you, Mr. Captain Jack. Right now, if you pretty much liked what you saw, I'd recommend hitting that little heart, as Captain Jack so told you at the beginning of the show, especially that bell. That means you get hit with the notifications and you'll be able to stay up to date. The Twitter's very active, so you can stay tuned, know what maps are coming up ahead of time, or the schedule, especially since, well, Death Computer are going to be having to face this team, and, well, Death Computer faces, BearClaw Gaming now, and I guess you want to stay tuned because that match is going to be sweating very hard. Either way, I want to thank you so much for supporting and tuning in. I'm username_Intel, and this is Captain Jack with Refuse over at the beautiful production side, and we'll see you next time.